Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Pójść do zoo. To go to the zoo. Pójść do zoo. To go to the zoo. And that's something you can enjoy almost everywhere. We got pretty nice zoos all spread all over the Poland. There's actually a very nice one in my hometown, which is located on a small island. My hometown is called Opole, and the zoo is located in a small island in the middle of a river, and it's really amazing. I personally don't like zoos because I don't like seeing all those animals in cages, but over there is almost no cages, and it's so spacious because it's like takes the whole island literally. So that's very nice thing about it. So for example, you can say, pójdziemy do zoo w weekend. Will we go to the zoo on the weekend? Urządzić piknik. To have a picnic. Another one you can enjoy would be urządzić piknik. To have a picnic. And usually, I mean, if you are living in a big city, you don't have your own garden, so you just go to a park. But if you live in any of those smaller ones, and it doesn't have to be really small, but a lot of places, like people tend to have their own gardens, so they will just have a picnic in a garden, in their own garden. It's very popular in summer. Maybe early autumn or something like that when it's still not so cold, or late spring, obviously not winter. But yes, it's very popular for kids going with their parents or for couples going to a picnic. We love to eat outside, we love to sit outside and enjoy the nature. Urządzimy piknik w parku. Will we have a picnic in park? Iść na kolację i obejrzeć film. To have dinner and see a movie. Iść na kolację i obejrzeć film. To have dinner and see a movie. This would be one of the most popular options, I guess. That's what I usually do. When I go out with my boyfriend, we just have dinner and maybe a couple of drinks, and then we go and see a movie or two. And I think that's the easiest one to arrange for Valentine's or any other day, because it doesn't really depend so much on the weather. W piątek idziemy na kolację, a potem obejrzymy film. On Friday we will go for a dinner and then we will watch a movie. Przejechać się promem. To take a ferry ride. Przejechać się promem. To take a ferry ride. So I guess you can do it kind of on the big river, Wisła River, in Warsaw, or when you go to the sea, you can enjoy that too. Not in a lot of places, but the places where you can do that, it's amazing. It's very nice. It's a very nice thing to do, especially in summer. So for example, if you are going for this romantic evening, you can say, wieczorem przejedziemy się promem. In the evening, we'll take a ferry ride. I am a big fan of those wonderful white beaches which we don't have in Poland. But after seeing lots of beaches around the world, I know that Polish beaches are amazing. They are amazing. They're not white, but kind of gold. But they are very long, beautiful, and a very nice place for a romantic date, especially in summer. So another thing you can do is spacerować po plaży. To walk on the beach. Spacerować po plaży. To walk on the beach. So if you like this late evening walks on the beach, you can say, wieczorem przespacujemy się po plaży. In the evening we will walk on the beach. Świątynia means a temple, and you will not find a lot of temples in Poland, like very close to zero, but sometimes we call a church a temple as well. So sometimes we actually refer to a church as świątynia, or świątynia Boga, like the God's temple or something like that. And for example, you can say, zróbmy sobie zdjęcie przed świątynią. Zróbmy sobie zdjęcie przed świątynią. let's take a picture in front of a temple. Another one, mechet, mosque. There are some places where we still have some. In my hometown, we used to have one. We don't have it anymore, but everybody knows where it used to be, so everybody refers to that place, well, you know, this place where a mechet was, where a mosque was. And in a sentence, you can use this word like this. Ten mechet jest bardzo stary. Ten mechet jest bardzo stary. This mosque is very old. The next word is super important in Poland, and it's kościół, church. Basically, if you are going around Poland, very, very possible that you will be going or sightseeing around all those churches. So all around kościół, kościół, kościół. And for example, you can say, ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. Ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. This church was built in the Middle Ages. Ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. Yes, we do have a lot of kościół or a lot of churches in Poland. For example, in my hometown, Opole, we do have around four, I guess 1, 2, 3, maybe three, around three in just the city, the main part, the main city square in the city center. So it's like maybe 2 minutes from one church to another, and they're all different. So it's very nice for sightseeing or going around, but it's like literally maybe 2-3 minutes between one and the other. And when they have, like, you know, on Sunday you can hear the bells ringing in one church and another one, and 5 minutes later another one. So it's very funny. And yeah, we have a lot of churches in Poland, basically. Some of them very beautiful, so please check it out. Our next word is wodospad. Wodospad means waterfall, and it's basically the word itself is built like in English, so water is falling, and in Poland is wodospad. Spad, like go down, from spadać, and wodo from woda, from water, so the water is falling, wodospad. And for example, you can say, podobno tam jest duży wodospad. Podobno tam jest duży wodospad. There is supposed to be a big waterfall out there. Podobno tam jest duży wodospad. Well, we don't really have a lot of waterfalls in Poland. I guess if you go to the mountains, you will see like a small river and something like a waterfall, which can look beautiful. But I guess we have more lakes maybe, which are even more beautiful. So please be sure to check out Polish nature, because it's amazing. Our next word is a lot of fun, and it's wycieczka. Wycieczka means a tour, and if you find a nice wycieczka in an offer, maybe you can say, pojedziemy na tę wycieczkę. Pojedziemy na tę wycieczkę. Are we going for this tour? And of course you can like go by yourself and go around and do sightseeing by yourself, but it's also very nice to get a tour, a guided tour, especially if you go around Krakow, like you go to Auschwitz or you go to Wieliczka. And I think it's very important to get guided tour there, because first of all, it's very difficult to get there, and second of all, it's nice to go there with somebody who can tell you a little bit more about the place than just see the place. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. To reduce trash. Another very important thing to do is zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci means to reduce the trash. And that's something you can do by your own as well. So one thing that has been done in Poland is, as I said before, you have to pay for your plastic bag, and people stopped buying those plastic bags because now they are aware that it costs money, and then it costs money to utilize it, right? So, and that's another like garbage that we don't need. So that's one thing we are doing to just zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. So for example, you can use it in a sentence like należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. We need to reduce the amount of garbage. Troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. Now our next one is an obvious one, yet some people really tend to neglect it. And that's troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. To care for the environment. So troszczyć się means to care, and then środowisko is the environment. Altogether troszczyć się o środowisko means to care for the environment. And you can use it in a sentence like wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. Wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. We all need to care for the environment. And true as it is, we often tend to forget about it. And I guess in Poland right now, the biggest problem is that during the winter it's very cold. And you've got the central heating system, but very often you just burn stuff and then in your fireplace. And, even in the central heating, if you have a house, you will just burn things in the fireplace, and if it's cold, it's okay. But a lot of people, they don't have money to buy one, so they will just burn trash. And that's becoming a big issue right now in Poland. We have big pollution issues during the winter. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. Our next word, or actually a phrase, is używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. So używać, as you probably already know, is to use something. And then produkt is a product. And then środowisko is environment. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. Przyjazny means friendly or nice to you. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. And in a sentence you would use it like, czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Do you use eco-friendly products? Now, the thing is that eco-friendly products are usually more expensive than the normal ones. And I guess even though it's better than it used to be, still a lot of people, they cannot afford it. So they just buy those cheap products that are not necessarily eco-friendly. And we still have issues with that in Poland, and I guess all around the world. But more and more people, especially in big cities, they kind of becoming aware of how important it is, and they don't really, they don't mind spending a little bit more if that's going to solve some issues regarding environment and environment pollution. Segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. And our next one is segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. So segregować means to separate, to divide by categories. And śmieci is garbage. And you can say, u mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. U mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. Which means in my house we separate garbage. In Poland, we do separate garbage, although, of course, it really depends on the household. It depends on where you live, if you even have access to those big garbage bins where you can throw away plastic bottles or glass bottles or cans. But if you do have access to that, and I guess more and more people do, then I guess most people will do it, will separate it because it makes, recycling easier, but it also makes your garbage problem easier, by which I mean that you are going to throw away it in those big bins that are being there on the street, so you have relatively less garbage at home. So it's easier for you to separate them and then to throw it away in those public bins that are over there, lying there, sitting over there, just waiting for you to do it. Oczyszczać, to clean. So our next word may sound familiar, and it's oczyszczać, oczyszczać, to clean. You probably have heard the word czysty, czysty, clean as an adjective. So czysty, we transform it a little bit and we have czyścić, so to clean something, and then we put the O in front of it and it's oczyszczać. And the difference between czyścić and oczyszczać is that, well, czyścić is like, to clean your house, or to clean your plates, or to clean your, even your clothes, while oczyszczać is more for bigger things. So like to clean the rivers or the sea, or something like that, or water, like drinking water. That's oczyszczać, it's like for bigger purposes. And for example, you can say, musimy oczyścić powietrze. Musimy oczyścić powietrze. We need to clean the air. And just to wrap it up, in this particular sentence, oczyścić is the only word you could use. You couldn't use czyścić, like to clean, because that's just for the small things that you are, cleaning your house, or as I said, cleaning your plates or something like that, and not for bigger things like, like the air or seawater or water, drinking water or something like this. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. To request vacation time. Another important step is, if you are working, you need to złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć means to put together, like the literal meaning is to put together, but here we use it as submit something. And a wniosek o wolne is just a form to get vacation. So altogether, we can translate as to request vacation time, but literally it just means to submit a form for vacation. And for example, you can say, złożyłeś już wniosek o wolne? Have you already requested vacation time? Złożyłeś już wniosek o wolne? Zarezerwować noclegi. Zarezerwować noclegi. To book accommodations. The next phrase is zarezerwować noclegi. Zarezerwować noclegi. So zarezerwować means to book, and here we are talking about noclegi. Noclegi is a plural form of nocleg, which just basically we translate it easily to accommodation. So zarezerwować noclegi means to book accommodation. And if you've already done this, you can say, zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. Zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. I have booked our accommodations. Zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. And actually the same here. Well, zarezerwowałam is for girls, so that's the feminine form. Zarezerwowałam, the ending. While guy would say zarezerwowałem. So the ending is wem. Zarezerwowałam, feminine, and zarezerwowałem, masculine. So choose your form. Choose the one to use. And I guess, you've got a wide range of different types of accommodation in Poland. You can choose a very cheap hostel, which we basically call the same hostel, or you can choose hotel. You can go for Airbnb or any kind of this stuff, like the kind of blah 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 again. So you can go for hotel or hostel or Airbnb kind of accommodation. And usually, I guess, the accommodation is not that expensive in Poland, although it depends on the season. And surprisingly enough, for Warsaw, the middle of summer is not high season. So if you want to visit Warsaw or even Krakow, the middle of summer, it should be on the lower season part because people are going to the sea or to the mountains, just taking a break from big cities. So it's maybe the good time to go to big cities as well. Uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. To obtain an international driving license. Also, a very important thing to do if you want to drive around Poland is to obtain an international driving license. And in Poland we say, or in Polish we say, uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Uzyskać means to obtain or to get something, or like get profit is the same uzyskać. Międzynarodowe, it means international. Między and this inter is kind of the same part of the word, and national or narodowe is the same part, so it's kind of like a literal translation. Prawo jazdy, driving license. Prawo jazdy, the right to drive. Prawo jazdy. But of course it's driving license. So uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy means to obtain an international driving license. And it's a very important step to do, because if you don't, you will not be able to rent a car and just drive around Poland, which is a very nice thing to do. For example, you can say, aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, musisz uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, musisz uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Oh, that was long, but it literally means, or actually it means, aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, należy uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, należy uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. To drive in another country, you need to obtain an international driving license. Odnowić paszport. Odnowić paszport. To renew your passport. Okay, this is something really not to forget, and that's odnowić paszport. Odnowić means to renew, and paszport is passport. And please, please, please don't forget that, because I personally once did forget, or actually my boyfriend did. So we were almost going to Philippines, and I was like almost going to Philippines. We were at the airport, and they were checking our passports, and they are looking at his passport, and it says only 3 more months valid, and to go to Philippines you need 6 months, which was basically like, well, you lady can go, but he can't, and I was so furious. So please don't forget to do that. That's like the stupidest thing you can do. So one thing you can say is, muszę sobie odnowić paszport. I need to renew my passport. Muszę sobie odnowić paszport. Spakować się. Spakować się. To pack. Now, when you are almost going, you've got your ticket, you've got your passport, you've got your accommodations. Another thing you can do, or you have to do, is spakować się. Spakować się as a reflexive verb, and it means to pack yourself. Well, actually, it literally means to pack yourself, so we can say to pack as well. And for example, in a sentence, you can use it like this. Spakowałeś się już? Have you already packed? Spakowałeś się już? Kupić fotelik samochodowy. To buy a car seat. Our next phrase is very descriptive, and it's kupić fotelik samochodowy. Kupić, to buy, fotelik, sit, samochodowy, car. So kupić fotelik samochodowy means just to buy a car seat. You can say, musimy kupić fotelik samochodowy. Musimy kupić fotelik samochodowy. We need to buy a car seat. Nakarmić. to feed. Our next phrase, or actually our next verb, is nakarmić. Nakarmić. Nakarmić means to feed, but it's perfective form of this verb. So already like when we suggest that somebody will be full after that, nakarmić, that's already over, finished. Even though we can use it in a future tense, it still means like something finished, like perfective, not imperfective. And for example, you can say trzeba go chyba nakarmić. Trzeba go chyba nakarmić. One has to feed him. Popychać wózek. To push a stroller. Our next phrase is popychać wózek. So popychać means to push, the same as pchać. And wózek means stroller. So popychać wózek means to push a stroller. And for example, you can say tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Daddy proudly pushes the stroller. Tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Czytać książkę. To read a book. So our next phrase is czytać książkę. Czytać książkę means to read a book. For example, if you're asking somebody if he or she reads books to his children or her children, you will ask, czytasz książki swoim dzieciom? Czytasz książki swoim dzieciom? Do you read books to your children? Przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. To make baby food. Our last phrase for today is przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. Niemowlę, or in the plural form niemowlęta, means just babies. So przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt means to make baby food. And for example, you can say muszę przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. Muszę przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. I have to make baby food. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi. I don't like meeting new people. Another one is not so much for a tourist as for a person just meeting new people. Well, I guess if you are a tourist, you will meet a lot of new people, and that's the point where you shouldn't use this phrase. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi. Which basically means I don't like meeting new people. And if you are telling it to a person you've just met, well, that's a big faux pas you shouldn't make. So please try to avoid it. Zjedzmy w McDonaldzie. Let's just eat at McDonald's. Another one that is a big no-no is zjedzmy w McDonaldzie. Zjedzmy w McDonaldzie. Which means let's just eat at McDonald's. And yes, of course, if you are going to another country, people would like you to try their own food, and the same is in Poland, and the same goes anywhere you go. So like, for example, one of my Polish friends, he came to Japan, and Japan, amazing food, and he was eating McDonald's every day and spending much more money than he should on it, because it's actually pretty expensive. And he never ever tried like this good Japanese food, so I guess all the people he knew from Japan, they felt a little bit offended, and it would be the same for me from Poland. So if you come to Poland and you are like, I will not try Polish food, like let's just go to McDonald's, let's just eat at McDonald's, like why are you even here? Why don't you want to like get to know new culture, right? So please try to avoid this. Nudy, boring. Nudy. Nudy or nudy It means boring. And that's something you don't want to say, not even like as a tourist, but as a friend, or if you go to Polish home, or Polish house, or whenever you talk to Polish people, you are sitting around anybody who can understand Polish, and you say like, oh, it's so boring, nudy. No, that's something you don't want to do, ever. And that's goes the same in any other language, I guess, and not even if you're a tourist, but if you're like in your own country and just speaking with somebody who speaks Polish, please don't do this. Not good. To smakuje okropnie. This tastes awful. To smakuje okropnie. To smakuje okropnie. To smakuje okropnie means this tastes awful. This tastes awful. Yeah, something you wouldn't like to tell somebody, especially if this person, your Polish friend, cooked you a wonderful dinner and you got this opportunity to try all this different Polish food, and then you are like, to smakuje okropnie. No, not a good thing to do in any country, Polish or Poland included. Zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. I'm going to spend the day in the hotel. Another one that somebody may actually feel offended is zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. Zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. I'm going to spend the day in the hotel. So yes, obviously, zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu is something you wouldn't like to hear if you are like, if your friend comes to your country and you want to show them like everything and you prepared everything and you've got this whole one-day schedule, sightseeing schedule, and they say, nah, today I'll just stay at the hotel, zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu, and I would just eat at McDonald's, I would just, zjem w McDonaldzie, I will eat at McDonald's. And this is, showing that you have no interest whatsoever in the country you just came to. And it's a very bad way to start a relationship with a country like that or with a person from that country. A big no-no, please don't do it.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.